And just take a few minutes to drop into the rhythm of your breath. I breathe in, I breathe out. So just see how still you can be. Let the belly be soft and expansive as you inhale, and let the belly recede gently as you exhale. And then bring your hands right here to Anjali Mudra. And as you inhale, sweep the arms down and up. And exhaling back to the heart. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And last time here. And then bring your arms down to the side. Continue with that long, slow, deep breath. So, you know, a lot of times students will say the breath is the most difficult part of the practice. And the reason for that is because breathing is something we do unconsciously most of the time. And so we have a lot of habit in our breath, a lot of mindless habits. And so this taking time to pay attention to the breath, to pay attention to what sorts of habits have you established in your breath, gives us just a lot of insight about how it is to be in our bodies. So inhale, float this right arm up, so staying with that breath, and exhaling down. And the other side, inhale. And exhale. So keep going. One more time, each side. And so really this is a pranayama practice or a breath practice, because lifting the arm, go one more time each side. Because lifting the arm really isn't that difficult, but moving the breath with the arm and exhaling with the arm. Inhaling, arm comes up. And exhaling, arm comes down, and really taking your time so that you completely fill the lungs. And then you consciously let the breath come out slowly and evenly. One more time here. And then we're just going to extend this, moving over to the side. So inhaling the right arm up, lengthening the side bodies. And exhaling back. And inhaling up and over. And exhaling back. So keep that same focus on the breath. And in yoga, you know, so in aerobic exercise, the idea is to get your breath and your heart rate up, to breathe faster and for the heart to beat faster. But in yoga, we're trying to slow the breath down, making it smoother, fluid, more efficient. And what that does is activates the vagus nerve, and that will slow the heart rate down so that we're training our autonomic nervous system to spend more time in rest and digest and less time in fight or flight. So the next time this right arm comes up and over, stay here and breathe. So see if you can stay in rest and digest here, keeping the breath slow, fluid, and even, keeping your body in alignment so prana isn't blocked. So if you're all crooky like that, prana is blocked, and just see if you can lengthen gently. Few more breaths. And then come back to the other side, bringing the left arm up and over, and come to a place where you can stay for some breaths, and also come to a place where there's a little space for you to work on that alignment so that there aren't any kinks in what is called the nadis in the language of yoga, which are the channels through which prana flows. Inhale as you come back up, and exhale, lengthen the spine. And as you inhale, go ahead and round forward into your cat stretch, one vertebra at a time, and then press the sits bones, lengthen the spine, and open the heart center, coming into your cow. Keep going like this, inhaling, engaging the bandhas, rounding into the cat. Exhale, pressing the sits bones, lengthening the spine, arching into the cow. And we're going a few more times like this. And then go ahead and come back up to sitting, lengthening the spine, and just moving some holographic wave. And then bring that to a close, sitting up nice and tall. And take a few breaths. And then go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. And so this is called Badakhanasana, or bound angle pose. And get up nice and tall on those sits bones. Sit up nice and tall here. And let's just start by hinging forward and lifting back up. So pay attention here to your low back. You don't want to fold over like this. You want to keep this nice and straight. Hinging forward and lifting up. And for a lot of us, this is a little tiny motion. It's not very, you're not moving any great distance. But you can feel it a little bit in the hip rotators and also back here on the low back. You want to feel that low back lengthening and stretching. And then come back up to sitting, lengthen the spine, and again, some holographic wave. And try and make your holographic wave slow and make it really subtle. Sometimes the smaller the motion of the holographic, the deeper and the more significant it can be. And then bring that to a close and come back up to sitting. And go ahead and make your way onto your hands and knees in tabletop. And of course, you're always welcome to pad up your knees if you need to. I'm just going to adjust the screen a little bit. So if you need to pad up your knees, it's too much. And then come onto your hands and knees. You want your knees hip distance apart and your wrists right under the shoulders. And then when you're on your hands and knees like this, there's sort of just this, like nothing's really engaged. So if you'll press into the palms of your hands and draw your heels towards your knees, you'll feel the spine lengthen and the belly will engage a little bit. So see if you can find that where there's some tensegrity in this tabletop pose. And then from there, let's start going through cat-cow, inhaling, engaging the root lock, the pit of the belly, rounding one vertebra at a time, chin to chest, there's your cat. And then lift the tailbone, sink the belly, open the heart center, there's your cat. So keep going like that, inhaling cat, and exhaling cow. And the next time you come into the cat stretch, let it morph into your holographic. So again, just see how slowly you can move in holographic waves so that it's as if it's something, the fluid is thick and viscous, like maple syrup. Just really slow. You can shift your weight back towards your knees and holograph here, and then forward more towards your hands and do something here. And then bring that to a close and just sit back in a child's pose. So just release your sits bones as close to your heels as you can, and then release forward over the mat, over your legs, and breathe here. And then stretch your arms out and hinge forward, bringing the shoulders over the wrists. And then hinge back. Bend the elbows, come into this puppy pose. Really feel the pelvis tipping towards the thighs, and then sitting back into child's. And then inhale, hinge forward, shoulders over wrists and lengthen. And exhale, bending the elbows and sitting back into child's. And just make your way through that. And remember that smooth, fluid, deep, long breath we practiced at the beginning? See if you can do that here. So it would be inhale here. Slow, controlled exhale here. Inhale. And exhale through puppy, and exhale all the way into child's. Go one more time. Modified plank. And this time come to your puppy pose, stay here. And bring the knees out to the sides of your mat so you're in a wide-legged position. And then bring the sits bones back and release over the mat, coming into a wide-legged child's pose. And breathe here. So now you're getting a stretch again into the hip rotators a little bit. And then go ahead and draw the hands under the shoulders and press yourself up. And bring your knees in. And go ahead and bring your right leg forward and your left leg back. And if you have some yoga blocks, like this. You can use the yoga blocks, and if you don't have yoga blocks, you don't really have to have them. Walk your foot forward, and you're just going to bend the knee coming forward like this, and then flex the foot coming back. So if you don't have blocks, it's you just have to round forward a little bit to get your hands onto the floor. We're just trying to work into the hip flexor on the front of the thigh and the hamstrings on the backs of the legs here. So the next time you hinge forward, stay here, engage the pit of the belly, float the arms up, float the arms down, hinge back and forward. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, the arms down, go back and forward. And last time here, lifting up. Last time, release back down. And go ahead and bring that right leg back. And then switch out, bringing your left leg forward. And go ahead and hinge forward. Back. And hinging forward. Back. And again, you don't have to have blocks. You can use your fingertips on the floor. And the next time you hinge forward, press into the four corners, look straight ahead, engage the bandhas and lift. Lower back down, hinging back, and hinging forward. Inhale up, exhale down, and back, and forward. And the last time, hinging back, hinging forward, and then go ahead and bring the hips back, bring your left leg back. And let's just come into a couple of downward facing dogs. So I can't remember, last week sometime I did show you how to do a downward facing dog against the wall. So if you don't want to do it on the floor, find a wall and you can do it there. Tuck your toes under, spread the palms of the hands and lift up and then hinge back. And really try to focus, so get way up on your toes. And then get the weight of the hips over the toes. And then focus on the low back and the head and try to get that lying up in a straight line. The upper back and the head. And then if you have any space left in your pose, you can try to lower the heels. But do not lower the heels and round the lower back. You want to keep that down dog tilt to the pelvis. Okay, go ahead and bend the knees, come down to tabletop, and come to child's pose. If you're at the wall, you can just step away for a moment or two. And we'll come back into it. So hinging up, tuck the toes under, and roll through the balls of the feet to lift yourself up, and then move the weight of the hips over the ankles. And try to get your upper back in alignment, and the head and the neck are an extension of the rest of the spine. And then if you want to try to lower your heels a little bit, you can. Rolling through the balls of the feet. Coming to child's pose. Taking a few breaths here. And then go ahead and draw your hands under your shoulders. And as you exhale, press back up to sitting. And go ahead and come up to standing. So I'm going to set myself up here just a little bit differently so that you can see me standing. And then go ahead and come, like a spotlight now, but come to the front of your mat or towards the front and stand in mountain pose. Just take a few breaths here. Go ahead and bring your hands to Anjali Mudra and inhale, sweep the arms down and up and just exhale down the midline. Inhale up, so get this lift and lift your heart center, but do not lift your tailbone towards your head. And exhale. Inhale, lift up, look up, and exhale. So you can imagine you have a block in between your knees here, and you're squeezing that block, gently hugging that block, and that will keep you from lifting the tailbone up. Go one more time. And then come to mountain pose. Bringing your hands to the fronts of the legs, bending the knees, sliding down and up. Keep going. Once more. And then come back up to standing. Now, go ahead and bring your right foot forward and your left foot back in a warrior one stance. So right foot forward, left foot back, warrior one. Now, bend the knee. So you're in a warrior one with your legs, and bring your right hand onto your right hip, your left hand onto your, right hand onto your right thigh, left hand onto your left hip. And we're just gonna open the left hip back towards the heel and then pivot. So just do that a few times, open and pivot back. And you're going from warrior one towards warrior two. You may not be able to open your hips all the way open to warrior two. It's okay. We're just trying to get these muscles to work in this way. And make sure this right knee doesn't come in when the hip goes out. You do not want it to do that. You want it to stay out here. And go one more time, warrior two. And warrior one. And then we're just going to come in and out of warrior, lift your arms up in warrior one, and then come back out of it. And coming into warrior one and back out. Make sure that back leg is straight and strong. And the next time we'll just stay here and breathe. And then lower the arms and hinge forward and stand in mountain pose. And we'll do that on the other side. So left foot is forward, right foot is back, taking a nice wide stance, pressing into the feet, and bend that left knee. So your legs are in warrior one, your hips are in warrior one, your left hand on your thigh, right hand on your right hip, and pressing into the feet, engaging the muscles, opening the hips into warrior two, and then pivoting back. So I'll just remind everybody that it does not matter what the pose looks like. It does not matter if you can't get your hips all the way open. But what matters is that you are asking the subtle muscles, the smaller muscles in the body, to work in a way, in a mindful way, in a way that you have to focus and concentrate on. Because once again, we are disrupting old patterns of behavior, old habits. And then we're replacing those habits with more mindful ways to be in your body. So the next time you come to the front, stay here and then lift the arms up, coming into warrior one. And then straighten the knee, the arms come down. And we're just going to come in and out of warrior one a few times. Inhale here. And exhale. And the next time you come into the pose, stay here and breathe. And then lower the arms down and hinge forward and step forward and just rock back and forth a little bit. And then bring this rocking to a close and let your feet come out so that they're maybe a little bit wider than hip distance. And let's do this hula hoop thing. So bring your hips over to the left and bring them to the front and over to the right and to the back. So just this little tiny circle. And we're most interested in moving the pelvis over the legs, just getting that hip rotation in there. And you don't want to come so far forward that you're compressing the low back here, because that's not really what we're after. We're just after this fluid movement in the hip joints. Now, reverse, go back the other way. And then go ahead and bring that to a close. And then turn sideways on your mat and step your right foot out. Well, step both feet out and then rotate your right leg so that the toes are facing the short end of the mat and your left toes are facing the long end. We're just going to come in and out of warrior two. So take your time and see if you can feel the muscles in the right leg, those little subtle muscles working to rotate the leg as you bend and straighten. And you want those muscles to work as you bend, and you want those muscles to work as you straighten, so that the rotators are working all up and down that range of motion. And the next time you come into warrior two, stay here and breathe. Now we're just going to do dancing warrior 3 times. So holding the legs strong and stable. Bring your right arm in, the left arm comes up and over. Your pelvis tips a little bit here, and the left arm reaches overhead. And then you cartwheel your arms back to warrior 2, and then float the left arm down, the right arm comes up. You reach through the right side body to reverse warrior, back to warrior 2, and side angle, back to warrior 2, and reverse warrior. One more time, side angle. One more time, reverse warrior. And then come to warrior two, take a few breaths here. And then lower the arms, heel toe your feet in. And just rock back and forth. And come back to that slow, deep breath. So you may feel some heat rising. You may feel your heart rate increasing a little bit, but you just want to, as soon as you can, come back to those slow, deep breaths. And just bring your feet right underneath your hips and bend the knees. And we're just going to slide down and up 3 times, releasing any tension you might have built in the low back and also in the hamstrings. And one more time. And then we'll do that on the other side. So turn sideways on your mat, step your feet out, and this time you're going to turn your left leg out and your right toes are straight ahead. And we're just going to come in and out of warrior two for a few times. So bending that left knee, coming into warrior two, and back to straight. So when you're doing this, you might notice that if you open this right hip more out, that the left knee comes forward more. And if you have that going on in your body, let the knee win. So keep the knee over the second toe or in line with the second toe, even if the right hip is rolling forward a little bit. That's just a better way to work until the body opens up. A few more times like this. And the next time you come into Virabhadrasana 2, stay here and breathe. And bringing the left arm in, the right arm up and over, coming into that side angle. Making your way through warrior two. And the right arm comes down, the left arm comes up in reverse warrior. And back to warrior two. Side angle. Warrior two. And last time, each way. And then coming back to warrior two and breathing here. Lowering the arms and go ahead and heel, toe, and step in and rock from side to side. So to stretch out the back body a little bit, let's do a few straight-legged forward folds. So lengthen here and just hinge forward with a flat back and lifting back up. So you all might remember that little leg spiral we do sometimes. So when you hinge forward, energetically think of pushing your heels away from each other. You'll feel your legs rotating in towards each other. And then as you come up, draw the heels towards each other and the legs rotate back up. Energetically pushing the heels away, hinging forward, and drawing the heels towards each other. So you may feel you still are using the root block and the pit of the belly, but the muscles in the legs that wrap around and allow this spiraling motion will also help lift. So you may or may not feel that, but this is one of my favorite techniques in forward folds, is to press those heels away as you hinge forward and draw them towards each other as you lift. Stay here and breathe. Go ahead and make your way back down onto your back on your mat with your knees bent and your feet flat on the mat. And we'll just do a few floor stretches before. We'll just do a few floor stretches before we take Shavasana. So the first thing I want to do is release into the earth. This is one of my favorite parts of a practice where you've done just a little bit of work. And so come back to your breath. And the first thing is make sure that your chin isn't hyperextended, because when you're doing this, you're contracting the muscles on the back of the neck. So lift your head up and tuck your chin, and then there's this place on the back of the head called the occiput, and you just want to bring that down onto the mat so your neck is long. And then rock your knees back and forth. And then just see how still you can be on the floor. Notice where you're holding tension and come back to your breath. So first you want to let the breath be whatever it wants to be. If it wants to be fast, it's okay. Let it be that. And then as soon as you feel like you're able, slow the breath down. Take all the time you need for every inhale and exhale, reminding yourself that oxygen exchange is going on all the time, no matter where you are in your cycle of inhale and exhale. Your body is doing that work of getting oxygen to all the tissues. And then bring the right knee into the chest, flex the foot, press it up to the ceiling, and let's point and flex the toes. And then make big ankle circles going in one direction. And then reverse that, making big ankle circles going in the opposite direction. And then flex the foot, reach through the heel, take a breath or two here. And then bend the knee into the chest and lower. And bringing the left knee into the chest, flexing the foot, pressing it up to the ceiling. Point and flex the toes. And then make big ankle circles going one direction. And reverse that, making big ankle circles going in the opposite direction. Flex the foot, reach through the heel, bend the knee, lower the foot down. And then just bring both legs in and just rock from left to right, massaging the low back into the earth. And when you're ready, go ahead and make your way into Shavasana. Get any yoga props you would like to have. Release into the mat, drop into your breath. I breathe in, I breathe out. So wiggle your fingers and your toes. Move and stretch in any way your body calls you to move and stretch. And whenever you're ready, I invite you to make your way up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to the heart center. Take a few breaths. And take this off the mat and into your life. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.